everybody doing this afternoon? We good?
Hot. Yeah.
Cool, lovely. Okay, so I'm going to explain the genesis of this session. We were having a discussion a couple of weeks ago about, like, what can we do at Fanfest? Like, we need to do more stuff. Fanfest is awesome, 10 years, blah, blah, blah. And we were like, we should do some kind of game design thing. We were like, what can we do? And we were like, that live art panel is really cool. Let's steal that. So basically, we are going to, today, design a feature on stage in front of you, hopefully. It's a little bit ad hoc. It's a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for?
Winging it.
Winging it's good, experimental's nice, like this kind of thing. We're going to see how this goes. It's going to be interesting. Hopefully, it'll be educational experience for everyone. We might even get something useful out of it. But we're going to see how this goes, and hopefully, you'll have a good time. I'm CCP Grayscale. I'm a game designer.
I'm CCP Patek, senior content developer.
And I'm CCP Masterplan, and I don't get a fancy mic.
But he gets to be friends, not a friend, but friends. Jamie is that important.
Yes, Jamie is one of our friends. We have other friends in the audience somewhere who may come and harass us later. I'm not sure. Yeah, hi, Pally. As the obvious, like, gigantic, huge disclaimer, this is kind of the thing that we're about to design is. But hang on, let me go. I've probably got this on a slide. Let's see how slides work. Hey guys, what's going on here? Yeah, cool. We're going to design something on stage. This is going to be fun. I'm going to type on stage. We're going to get some audience participation. You guys are all like standing stakeholders for the day. So you'll have a say on what we're going to do. How this works exactly is up for discussion, but we're going to try and get some audience feedback and some input. This is like alternate timeline shit. This doesn't exist in the main Eve timeline. This feature is not coming to TQ. We are not going to design something and you can go back to your guy and say, hey, I know what's coming. We've picked something that we're not working on right now so that there's no confusion. We're not doing like software or anything because people will be like, I know what's coming. And we can't design something robust live on stage because it's more complicated than that and we don't have the people to sign off on things. Like the people in the audience who will come over to me afterwards and say, what are you doing? So if that's all clear, I think we can get on with this.
Yep.
So, Odyssey. Odyssey is an expansion. It's coming out soon. You've probably all heard of it. We had some high-level goals for Odyssey. Do you want me to read these out, or do you want to just read them yourselves? How does the audience feel? Let's have some participation. Who wants to have this read out to them? Okay. Who doesn't want this read out to them?
Yeah.
Okay, fuck you guys. I'm reading it out. For solo and group players, there is purpose and excitement to go out in space and do things. Yeah. This is the thing we want. And there's a lot of different things, like things with like passive income and stuff in Eve and people not knowing what they want to do next and all this kind of stuff. We want everyone to be sure that every time you log into Eve, there's something that you want to go do. Because cool, it gets people in space, it gets you doing things, you can fight each other, you can blow up. Happy days. For young solo and group players, there are multiple accessible paths to end up in space with a worthwhile / exciting purpose.
So many fucking words, like
Yo.
worthwhile / exciting. What the fuck does that mean, actually?
It means yeah.
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 So this is the difference between a house painter education and a Cambridge education here on this slide, just so you know.
Yeah, so we want people, especially new players, to like have ways that they can go do stuff in a really easy way without having to read like a zillion pages of wiki or whatever. For enablers and instigators, these are like alliance leaders and fleet commanders and all that kind of jazz, like the people who have big hats and tell people what to do. There's a need and possibility to organize the smaller scale efforts of many people to gain influence / money / power. Bam. Yeah, this is kind of self-explanatory, I think. We want people who are running alliances and running corps to basically get people to go do stuff. Makes us happy. So these are the things some of the things that we were trying to achieve in Odyssey. And we went through a lot of different feature ideas. We had some internal rounds of like, what should we do? What's this expansion going to be? Had a lot of input. We've ended up doing a lot of kind of systems-y type stuff. There's a lot of suggestions that came out for more content-oriented stuff that we kind of left by the wayside for now. We decided for this expansion that's not where we want to go. So what we're going to do for the next hour is we're going to pluck out one of those things that we briefly talked about and went, nah. And we're going to actually design it and show you kind of like in an alternate reality Odyssey where we decide to do lots of content stuff. This is one of the things we would have done and show you how we do it. So the theme of this expansion is exploration. The feature, and I'm pretty sure this is why I started doing this, is going to be more wormholes. Yay. This keyboard is in QWERTY. I type in Dvorak, so this is going to be fun. Um, so we did wormholes in Apocrypha, and they were kind of, who here likes wormholes? Sweet, cool. We like you guys. And when we did Apocrypha, we kind of did wormholes, and we had certain things we wanted it to be and certain assumptions we made, and those assumptions kind of got horrendously violated. For example, the whole, I think Soundwave talked about this earlier, the starbases, we were kind of like, should we let starbases be anchored? It'll be really hard, the logistics will be a pain, no one will bother. Yeah, sure, well, starbase is cool. And that kind of didn't work out the way we thought it was going to, and ends up that every wormhole has a starbase in. So we've been talking pretty much since then about adding more space with no starbases. There's like a different flavor of wormhole space. We have like the homestead, which is kind of what we've got now, the kind of the settled band, and then we want the Wild West out beyond that, where there's nothing going on, and like you have to go out raiding, and there's Indians and this kind of stuff. So, feature we're going to have is some more wormhole space. We have a pretty good idea of what this is going to be at high level. So, the first thing we do, we have a design. We have our expansion goals. We pick a feature that we think is going to fit that, and we have to start thinking about the actual gameplay goals. So this is the first stage of any design, is know what your goddamn goals are. It's very important. So what are our goals, guys?
Okay, so we've already got wormholes. So we can use that as a good starting point or exit point of like what worked, what didn't work. Good example, what Grayscale just mentioned is pauses were never intended, but it's emergent gameplay. It's really cool. There's no reason to take that out, and it's more fuff compared to effort doing it. So maybe this time we shouldn't allow pauses.
So what's the goal?
Oh, the goal.
What's the goal?
So this should allow, like we go back to the headline feature, is to allow small groups of people doing stuff and blah, blah, blah. So we should be aiming this maybe, say, 5 to 10-man groups, not more. I think like if we get over the 10-man threshold, then we're going to get a little bit wormholes Mark II.
Yeah.
So I think we should concentrate on like everything has to be thought out from that scale, the 10-man group. So we have to keep that in mind when we do the resource gathering. How is that going to work? We can't have orcas running around in between, because then we get into mass limit problems. So we might even have to look at compressing resources so it's easier. We're going to have a limit on mass, of course, so that means, in theory, if we don't fuck with the mass on attack 3 ships, that's going to be our higher limit in that sense. We're not envisioning a high battleship gang going through this. Honestly, you're probably better off if you're roaming being in assault frigs or cruisers, just because of the mass. So we got that. We don't need pauses. That's pretty much the line we're going for.
So let me go for a goal here. We don't want people to live here. We want them to go here, but we don't want them to settle down. So no settlements, all roaming.
Yeah, all roaming. And then we get to those classical Eve question. But how much is per hour am I going to make? So that needs to be thought out really carefully. Like that's one of those things where it's going to crash or not.
Yeah, so in reality, we would then sit down and get loads of spreadsheets and do Excel and do math and shit, but we don't have time for that, so just pick a number.
Fuck that. So let's say, I don't know, like, we don't want it too much, because then the big groups will say, man, the mass on the wormholes is too small because we can't bring our 200 people in here and make lots of money. So we're going to have to, like, somewhere in the middle ground. It should pay more than level 4 missions. We know it's going to be, but you're not going to get, like, a full hour of content. You're not going to get the whole grinding. So pay more than level 4s, per average an hour. That means there's going to be a peak and there's going to be a bot. But high paying activity, and the content of gathering that money has to be maybe a short session, like 20 minutes, 30 minutes max per content in that sense. Now he tapes for half an hour. I have the good job actually here. I just need to talk. I like that.
So more than level 4s where in relation to existing wormholes?
I don't know. I like wormholes. Like everything we take people out of known space and we put them in like 0-0 or wormholes. I think it leads to interesting gameplay at the end of the day. And like,
so same kind of ISK per hour as wormholes, a little bit more, a little bit less?
I won't say more, but then they get efficient at doing what they do though. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So let's just aim for level 4 at the moment, and then we'll say we'll come and tweak this at the end of the development phase.
Okay.
We might not have time for that, and then we release something really bad, incursions, and then I'll fix it later on. But let's go with that for the time being.
Okay. Anything else?
So it shouldn't be as predictable as existing wormhole content has become.
Less predictable.
Like, it's supposed to be a scary place that you can explore and get lost.
So basically, no statics. So we can have that as exit point, like avoid static holes as much as possible, or just not as much as possible, just don't have them. Okay, that's solved.
That's a pretty good set of goals, I think. That puts us into a nice box.
Yeah. And you could even take the less predictability, and we can make that as a goal in its own self. Comparing, like we had the wormhole roundtable yesterday, and there's a lot of echoing from wormhole people coming, like, I don't totally want to know exactly what I'm getting myself into. So let's just have less predictability across the board, like in NPC spawns, loot drops, and things like that. Like, that's maybe a goal we can actually try to achieve.
Cool. Happy?
It's ready. Let's ship it.
So the reason we always start off with doing goals is because that kind of should be driving your entire design. If you don't know what you're trying to achieve, then A, what are you doing? And B, every time you have like long-running arguments about design, it's usually because you've got conflicting goals and you're arguing about like, should this ship have 3 high slots or 4? But the actual question is, should this ship be a raiding ship or an attack ship? And until you can clarify those goals, if you're arguing across purposes with different goals, you'll never agree on anything. So always, like, whenever there's any kind of confusion about what we're trying to do with features, what we always try to do is ask ourselves, what are the goals? Go back to the goals. Are we happy with them still? Are they doing what we want to do? Are they taking the feature in a good direction? If you've got good goals, then your feature's going to be good, barring, like, horrendous failures.
And to take that and actually put it in real-life applications, the clearer the goals are at the beginning, there's going to be less confusion in the iteration procedure and actually working on a feature. The less stupid mails you receive means more work for you to do actually on the feature.
Yep.
So like, if you go into a feature with like, it's gonna be a little bit like that, and a little bit of that, and then we're gonna dance a little bit on that, and it's gonna be fabulous, bye-bye. So make a feature, and then like you have 3 departments sitting in a room going, yeah, okay. And you can imagine like the amount of emails and confusion that goes through that. So the goal thing, it's a little bit on paper, it's a little bit academic, but it translates into real life money and time, pretty much, having that cleared out.
Yep. Cool. Happy days. Approximate scope.
So how long do we have for this? Say a release, less than a release?
I think a half of a release would be. It's a nice contained chunk of bit work. So
you're gonna make me block
like
that like last week.
Yeah.
That's what you're gonna. So what did you say? 6 sprints, something like that.
Sprints? I think 4 sprints. I think 4 sprints would be cool. Nice contained.
So much.
Can you do it in 4 sprints? We don't have that much tech with you, I don't think. Most of what
no,
we've
it's
got,
gonna be
we have to do some stuff with the distributor, but otherwise.
What about the QA? I mean, what are they going to do?
That'll be fine. We'll just do that at the end.
Yeah, there's a hardening sprint, man. Like, it's fine. So yeah, 6 sprints.
Yeah, I think if we can keep, we're not going to be, we've been generating a lot of content, but most of it is going to be, we do need system stuff, that's all going to be just like procedural, so as long as we test that the system's working, that shouldn't be too hard. Daniel can probably keep up, right, Daniel? Cool.
Sure, exactly. We have sign off from
and
QA.
then we'll have, if we're doing this in the first half release, we have the second half of the release to test it while we're doing the next feature, so it'll be, it's like tag for sec, it's fine, it's lovely.
Yeah, this is why I have sometimes a bloody ulcer, just to show you
how much time do you want to make the content, Christian?
I don't know. I think like if we define the goals early and things like that, I think the content creation isn't the big problem in this. It's creating it, getting it out. You have to create the NPCs, you have to create the dungeons. Probably what I would say, I would maybe want more time just to throw it out there to get like feedback from Fanfest or the Sci-Fi and things like that. So maybe we might maybe 2 sprints for that. Otherwise, we're doing things too rushed. I always ask for these 3-4 sprints just to iterate, and I'll never get them.
Give you a number.
I don't know. Okay, so let's go over
6.
what a sprint is. We'll define it for you guys. So sprint is basically, what, 13 days?
It's 10 days.
10 days, shit. Yeah, this is where I always go wrong.
Well, it's 9 days. 9 days, and on the 10th day we rest.
So
and do some
basically,
stuff.
we take our developments into chunks. So say we have 9 days, and then we just find out how many 9 days we have in each release. It usually comes out being like 6, 7 sprints.
I think we could do a whole release. So I think 6 is
So
a reasonable
6
number.
Yeah, so say
The
6,
audience agrees. It gives you 4 sprints to do stuff,
And
2 sprints
two,
to
yeah.
polish.
Okay,
and
okay. So yeah, 6 sprints should be doable, and then we'll try to push it later and be told no. But
Yeah.
we'll go for it anyways. Yep.
How many systems do we need?
Star systems. Okay, we're doing all of this fucking effort, and we're gonna do it once, and then we're gonna say we're gonna iterate on it, and then someone's gonna tell us we're gonna iterate on it, and then we're not gonna get to iterate on it, and then we iterate on it in 2 years. So let's just go big. Why not? Like we only have one opening for this, so how many wormhole
We've
systems
got
do we have?
2,500 currently.
2,500.
Yeah, give or take about 10.
Do we want to go up or down? I'm
I
thinking
think-
halves.
Yeah, like 1,000, 1,500,
Let's go up.
2,000.
Yeah, it's a script. He's doing it anyways. We don't have to do the work.
No, I'm probably going to do this. It's all flat text files, and I can do this myself.
So yeah, let's just add like 2,000 plus.
Where's the tilde on this thing?
Yeah.
No.
No.
This is Icelandic layout, sorry. I don't know where it is. Hang on, let me just say prox. It's a different language and a different layout. Just bear with me.
So approximately 2,000 systems.
And do you want to take a ballpark at the number of dungeons we're going to do? Dead space locations we're going to do?
So if I, like for the combat side, if I remember correctly, for the C6 and the higher ones, we had 4 to 6 approximately, and then you have the resource gathering and things like that. I actually think we should maybe put an emphasis on excitement in this release. Because I think we inherently we get into resource problems with if we have like, go to this wormhole, mine tritanium, bring it back. ISK per hour is going to be absolutely poor, piss poor even out of that. So we should avoid all those fuckers, even the gas and things like that, because like you're still going to get into the problem, you need an orca. So maybe we just focus on something combat related, like the salvage would be the key factor, the blue ribbons, maybe some new tiers of that, different NPCs and things like that. So maybe let's just have it pew-pew country.
Yep.
And that even so, now we've asked ourselves, what's the purpose with this? This is pew-pew country. And that simplifies things even more. So the only thing people that should be in there are in pew-pew setups. So let's balance all the NPCs with PvP fitting. That's a good guideline to start with, at least. We have a starting point with NPCs.
Yep.
We might use some of the old ones. We'll just see with time, but I kind of want to fiddle with everything when I have an opportunity to do it. So say we'll probably author maybe a new set, or basically we'll fill in the gaps we feel that are missing. I'm hoping it wouldn't be too much authoring work, but like, I mean, we have a sprint just on that. But I think like if we add a lot of resources that isn't ISK per hour worthy, then we're just missing like our window, which we have.
Yep.
Can we have some giant capital NPCs?
Oh shit, man. Yeah. How about you do it?
The stakeholders want that.
Yeah, they want that. Yeah, okay. Stakeholders. Okay, this is usually, now we would go into like a stakeholder meeting and say, we have an idea, it's brilliant, and like, way, and it's like 6 sprints, and we have it all covered. And then they go, yeah, I really want capital ships, NPCs. And then we're like, oh shit, yeah, but we only have 6 sprints. But can't you drop in something else instead? Maybe, let me look at it. And then you promptly ignore all mails regarding this issue for a whole week and hope that everyone forgot about it.
He's literally like this all the time.
But yes and no. Let's put it as a could.
I've got a question mark on it.
Yeah. Could. I don't know. Yeah, let's look into it. Let's look into it. Yeah, stakeholders, I'll look into it.
And
I'll give you an answer very soon.
Do you want to guess the dungeon count?
Dungeon cap in each system.
Count. How many are you going to make? that was a question I asked you 10
Yeah,
minutes ago.
okay. Do we want any bandwidth within it? Like, do we want
We
C
probably want at least
20?
3. We want at least a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, list 3.
Let's
So
do that. Let's make
I
it
think
limited.
if we do the random on the NPCs and things like that, we can get content that's reusable. So every encounter should be a little bit unique in regards to the number of NPCs. So that lessens the need to have unique dungeons. But anything below 3 is just mediocre.
So,
yeah.
12, 15, 20, 50?
Say 15. Let's start with 15. I think that's
15,
the one.
he said.
Yeah.
I'll say
Average.
15.
So everyone knows what a dungeon is here. Like everyone that's been in wormhole space and shot sleepers basically has been in a dungeon. So on a good day, when I'm on my 4th latte by 10 o'clock in the morning, and all stupid meetings have been cancelled, and everything is going very well, and I have music in my ears, and a documentary, and the bloody authoring tool in front of me, I could pump out 2 to 3 a day.
Okay.
Like, that's being really, really optimistic.
Yeah.
Then someone will go, hey, Christian, remember those, like, NPC capital ships? And I have a meeting for an hour, and then I lose momentum. But say in an ideal world, like 3 a day.
Cool.
So while you're doing all of your content as a programmer, I'm just sitting here doing nothing.
Oh, well, fine. You can fix defects. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Can you see anything here that you think we can do some code for, Jamie? Master plan? That guy.
Can we make some procedural dungeons?
Okay. This is a brilliant idea.
This is called feature creep.
Yeah, feature creep. So now I will go, and then I realized that, like, oh, fuck, then they're going to fuck with my tools, and they're going to do stuff. And
Tell you what,
break,
Jamie,
and
tell
then
you
it's all
what. How
gonna slow
about you
down.
write the script to make the systems instead?
Yeah,
Because I was
that's
going to
awesome.
do that. It's all FSD now, so
That's
it's all flat YAML, XML files.
It's exciting stuff, Jamie. No, but at the same time, okay, like, this is where we get into, as a team, we get these things where, like, we're off in dream country, scoping everything out, and, like, there are other people in the team going, like, oh, what the fuck should I do now? And we're really bad at answering that question. So at this time point, I would go, okay, hey, we had that thing called Fanfest. That was pretty cool. And we had those round tables with the wormhole people, which we're designing for. Or, I wish I smoked less pot, then I would remember what they said in that meeting. But basically, we'll take that out. We know there's a couple of things wrong with wormholes. People don't like having the static. So we might have to look into reconstructing how connections between wormholes work. That's something we need to investigate on the technical side, and how we would make a cool random system between that. And then the second question arises, I know wormholes in theory are just a blip somewhere in the database, but then we get to the mapping of the new space we're making. Will it be in between the other wormholes? Like, will it be edge on the things like that? I kind of like the idea of, like, if we could scatter them in between. This could be the low sec between whatever, you know.
We should just make them move.
Yeah, or something move like that.
Moving systems, I like that idea.
Yeah, moving system. Something, basically, we decided early on, unpredictability is something we're aiming for. So let's look at how we can make the connections between wormholes more unpredictable. That's something where, like, I actually think we could spend valuable time on. And it's usually just, it's 90% nerdy research time, and then coming up with a plan and then executing it. So.
Okay, I'm good at that.
Yeah. Sweet! I don't get mails from the programmer for the week. Yeah, he's busy.
Let's get moving with this. We're halfway through, Christian, just FYI.
Come again?
We're 4:30, so we're going to keep rolling forward.
Okay, let's go.
Need to talk less.
We can talk forever, so it's okay.
So this is our approximate scope. Next slide is review. Stakeholder review. Woo!
Woo!
What do you guys think so far?
Tomorrow? Yeah, after lunch. Does that work for you? No, but like your stakeholders now. Like, so John Lander is a retard. He would come now. I love it, guys. I love it. It's awesome. It's awesome. Have you thought about metrics? And we're like, yeah, but like, but then we don't have time to actually make the features. But metrics is super important, guys. You know this. We have to prove like it's successful. And they go, okay. Let's start thinking about metrics.
How do you feel about metrics? Do you want to make us some metrics while you're bored?
So what would we want? What metrics do we want to learn?
What has happened? I minimize it. It's
Well
fine.
done.
Ignore me. What metrics do we want?
What metrics would you want to see? Like, what would you, if you were doing measurements of a feature being used or not, like, what metrics? Ships exploded in the new place?
How many capital NPCs killed?
That's good.
Metrics for that.
Let's take some notes in this review.
Come again? Number of players killed. That's a good metric. That's always...
How many sites were started but not completed?
That's a good one.
Okay.
That's a good one.
Uncompleted sites.
Yeah.
Average group size.
Can we do that?
Say again?
Jump
Jumps per hour. Okay. How many people are coming in and out
There's
of
some
these
memory in
new
this.
sites?
What
We
was-
could even expand on that a little bit. Total mass used of the wormhole in like one period of jumping. That way we can gauge a little bit, seeing if we're actually splitting gangs in double because of it, or if we have enough like mass in the wormholes to facilitate what we're trying to do.
Yes.
Come again?
How many
Hard-
pod kills?
Yeah, hard kills. Yeah.
Pod kills are cool.
Number of sites scanned down, and what was this one?
Value of mass dropped, i.e. drops, and of that, what was actually bothered to collect?
How
yeah, that's
much
interesting.
stuff drops, and then how much of that gets actually picked up? Yep.
Cool, that's the metrics.
Yeah,
Good stakeholders.
that's pretty good. Yeah, exactly.
Excellent
Like
flashing
now
gun.
we
So
have.
one of the things we do when we have these metrics, like we predict,
Sorry.
what would we say is like a good result? So how many players killed per day would we say is a success for this feature? Okay.
You're hired. I want that dude. He's my stakeholder from now on.
So everybody must die.
Everyone must die.
Okay, so we want half of the players to die doing this stuff.
Yeah.
That's pretty risky.
That's pretty good.
Completed sites. I'm gonna say like 30% seems like people are doing stuff, but it's not, so they're still dying.
I think group size we said 10.
So let's say 7 is a nice average. Let's have 7 as a goal. Guns per hour.
So this is where people, like designers like Matthew, tweak the
Ah, yeah,
design
amazing.
to reflect his job being a little bit easier than like intended originally. This is what we call iteration on
percent of
designs.
Mass of wormhole, pod kills, 45%. Side scanned, 60. I don't know what 60 is, but it's a number. Numbers are cool. 100 billion and 4 billion. Let's go with that. I don't know. No, that's silly. 80 billion. There's still people dying before they can pick stuff up. Okay, cool. That's our
So
first
when we
stakeholder
ship the
review.
feature and it goes to TQ and we run the graphs and these numbers match, we can say, yes, that's a good feature. Or if not, we do something else.
we go, that makes me sad. What's next?
Okay, what's the next step?
Next step, design foundation. So how are we going to structure this? Sorry, the mouse keeps going to the corner, and the corner hides things, and then everything goes black. It's not my fault. It is my fault. But design foundations of this feature. Okay, so
Now all the fancy words start appearing on the screen.
wormhole space with no possibility of settlement. So people have to run through.
Normally we have to fit this on a post-it note.
My writing is not good on post-it notes. You don't want to see that stuff. I think that's kind of, for me, that's the thing that I most want to achieve, because that's what Wormhole Space was supposed to be originally. It was supposed to be this place where you go in and you have this crazy adventure and then you get back out again, and that's kind of the challenge, whereas it's turned into this thing where you go and there's Orca and a couple of star bases and you sit there for 3 years and then you come back out occasionally and go, oh God, what is this place in Empire? And then you go back hide in wormholes, which is cool. We like it, but it's not the thing we thought we were making, so.
Yeah. So to expand on this one, I think we can tie it in together. So the content in this needs to not take too long, and we need to have the respawning of it kind of sporadic in that sense. So basically, like someone jumps in, finds the 2-3 sites that are interesting, runs those, they dry up the pool, and then they have to move again. So basically, we don't want people parking in that wormhole and then just like waiting until like 250 sites up here, I'm rich. So we want to avoid that. We might even just add a cap on how many dungeons can be in its wormhole.
That's cool. That's interesting. Look at capping sites per system. There's a nice little distributor modifier that Jamie can do. Something to do. I would be kind of tempted to put them on the other side of the existing wormholes from Empire.
See, he gave it thought, comes 3 days later. Yeah, I was thinking.
Because then, like, you've got this, like, Empire, which is, like, civilized space, and then you've got this, like, borderland, which is existing wormhole space, which is kind of settled, and then you go through that, and you come out the side, and suddenly you've got this crazy land where there's no houses, and everything's, like...
So never any links to K-Space?
Yeah. I think that's kind of cool. Do you guys think that's cool or that's dumb? Sweet.
Okay.
Huh? Yes, that kind of stuff.
It's good.
Chaotic
space.
Yeah.
C-Space.
Space.
Say again? NPCs that pod.
Actually, we have the code for that. I'm just saying, like, if you're bored, like, just...
I know I broke it once and the NPCs started podding me.
Yeah, like, but maybe that's something looking into. This is one of those places where you're like, hey, this could be cool. Or it could backfire like a motherfucker.
So maybe this is where you also feature creep and say that, like, normal wormhole space, they should be able to have clones.
Yeah. Normal. So, yes and no. Let's put that one on the freezer for the
Sure,
moment.
okay.
But we had a conversation in the wormhole roundtable yesterday, which I found valuable. Is maybe not that you can clone jump into wormhole space, but in theory you could switch the clone you're in within the system. So Aurora requires something, stores 5 clones for you.
Switching between implant sets
Yeah.
in wormhole space, yeah.
Yep.
That's something I would look into. The other thing, jumping into the wormhole, I think it's too powerful, and I don't know. I think we'll kill a little bit of the excitement and the uncertainty of it.
Okay, well,
Sure.
won't that feature
Yeah.
then?
Just think of what we've got here. This is like this. If we get the content good, then this I think puts us in a pretty good place. It's
Yeah.
straightforward. We have the tech to do most of this.
The only thing I think we have to think about early on, and I don't know, it's just something to have in the back of the eye. Like, if it's the far away space, it's not in the between space, then the reward carrot needs maybe to be a little bit strong. Like, it's not that you want to go there. You go there because other people are going there, and if you're not going there, they're reaping the rewards.
So what, you think there should be something there that isn't
Let's just-
available anywhere else?
Yeah. Now, when usually stakeholders come and say, yeah, this is awesome, you just add X, and then they walk out. And I'm like, oh, yes, I'll just add a resource to this that doesn't go into something or replaces something. Come again?
Tier 3
Three
battleships.
I like
That's
that.
interesting.
Now someone from art is
I'm gonna
pooping
say-
blood.
You're saying
I
tier-
love it.
Are you saying tier 3 or tech 3? Tech 3.
Tech 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
be like, no. Like, just from the, like, say we're in the design phase, we shouldn't think about what is doable or not. We should just design like a butterfly. So, yeah, Tech 3 ships more, that would solve the resource gathering. We would add a resource that, like, is there that you need for Tech 3 battleship, and you can't find it anywhere else.
Yep.
Wouldn't we want to finish balancing all the Tech 3 cruiser stuff first, though?
Yeah, but we'll talk to Josh and send a mail. He'll take care of it. He'll find
Okay, we'll get Fuzzy to balance it.
What was the other thing I was thinking? Oh, PvP.
PvP.
Do you want anything particular? Because, like, if we're going to have this space where there's all these, like, Roman gangs flying through, there's going to be lots of combat. Can we do anything to make that more interesting? Do you think about wormhole effects? Do you want to do something?
I think we need to think about the wormhole effect. I think that's one of the things that make wormholes unique. If we would just rip off the effect because we're lazy gits, I think we would kill a little bit of that, whoa, this wormhole's a little bit different from the other one. We might have to tone down the effects or have them different because we're aiming for 10-man gang warfare rather than something else. But definitely keeping effects. And keeping effects that, like, okay, something weird, like something that affects local rappers, things like that. Maybe not the logistics side because you want people, not having that logistic power prop that just rolls through everything. So maybe we even look at like less remote repairing, more local reps on ships. Yep. No cloaking.
No cloaking.
No cloaking. E-wars you, yeah! Sensor dumping effects on everyone, yeah! Scored!
Yeah, so tracking enhancers all around.
No,
That
but
was my fault. I did that.
But I kind of like the idea of maybe, I don't know, say no cloaking. That's like no is
Mess
such
around
a
with cloaking a little bit.
stopper. But maybe something like that affects cloaking. Worth looking into.
We can just experiment with cloaking
Yeah,
things. See
exactly.
what
It
happens.
might be actually might be a good way to experiment for the future what we want to do with it and things like that. I'm not sure we'll hit a solution which we're happy with, but definitely worth looking into.
Okay.
Cool.
Radiation damage, like reason to have a local wrap. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Change of time.
Yeah,
Effects that change over time.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, just effects that affect the dungeon. Okay, that's an interesting aspect. We can actually technically do that. Then you could get a cool element where you're mixing like the system effect plus the dungeon
that's
effect.
cool. I
Do you
like
know
that.
what else would do a similar thing? On-grid boosting.
Yeah, actually.
If we could do that, we could do on-grid boosting.
Why haven't you done that yet, Jimmy?
Hiding in the cloud.
Spawn clouds. Okay, that's interesting. I like that
That's
because
also
that's
massive feature creep.
yeah, I know. Well, they're feature creeping. You should be positive towards your stakeholders.
That's
You should
great.
say
That's a great
everything's
idea. We'll go
possible.
away and think about that. Let's move
Yeah.
on to the next slide.
I think that's interesting. Maybe not in 6 sprints, but like definitely want to see that. No capitals.
capitals.
That's done. 10-man gangs
That's
already
based
covered.
on warm-horse base. We're going to stick with
All right,
that.
so let's...
I-
When do you want this feature to ship, by the way?
Never.
Yeah.
At this rate. Okay, so let's do some
So-
scoping. So I'm going to copy the goals into this other goals, the design stuff we just done. So we have this thing called, stop doing that. We have this thing called scoping, which is basically, we have this idea of what we want to do, but are we going to fit this all into the time we have? We scope our designs, basically figure out what's super important and what's kind of important and what we don't really care about. The system we use we call Moscow, which stands for must, should, could, won't. And that's a simple way of breaking down all the individual things we want. Is this absolutely critical, and if we don't have it done, we're not shipping? Is this really important, but we're, like, if it doesn't happen, we'll be very, very sad, but we'll ship anyway? Is it kind of cool, but we're not quite, we don't care that much? Or is it just we're not going to do this, we don't care anymore, bin this feature? So let us Moscow our bullet points.
So which is the most important line on this slide?
So number uno, wormhole space with no possibility of settlement. So people have to roam through it. Must. That's where you come in, baby. So you need to write an exception for this space that doesn't allow pauses to be anchored.
Not necessary. Star bases can only be anchored at moons.
Yes. Yes.
So we know...
Okay.
we-
Have moons, you can't have star bases.
But it's
yes,
ugly.
Yes. But there's a philosophy in life. Mediocrity is for pussies. And we are not mediocre. So, I think having moons just for the graphical effect of making the system look alive and not just totally barren. I think we need moons just from the beauty aspect, but not from the functionality aspect.
And if we ended up in some point in the far distant future making it so star bases aren't just stuck at moons, we have to solve the problem anyway, might as well solve it now.
No moon, well, if you
that's
can't
a
have a
given.
pause, then it's kind of solved on its own self. So I'm not overly worried about that, but I think we need an exception. So definitely that's a must.
What about this one then?
Come again, content needs to be quick to complete, slow to respawn. It's not a lot of work. Yeah, must. Let's put it in must.
Must.
Are we going to have everything as a must?
Yeah, I know, but then later on we'll scope again and then it stops being must.
This I'm going to arbitrarily say is a should. This is really cool,
Yeah.
but we could just do straight K-space to C-space connection if we want to. That's not a massive deal. It doesn't break the feature.
Yeah.
Stakeholders say must.
Should.
Should.
Must.
Must. Okay, must. The stakeholders have spoken. So yeah, they'll go emo if we don't do that, and then when we don't get paid, and people are like, oh, Christian never listens to when I have to say, and blah, 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 blah. So like, must before the stakeholders, and PC is that part.
Tapping per system, that's like a...
Could.
No, that's a could. That's a could. That's like a cool thing. We don't need that. Payouts just for the effort, that's kind of a must.
Must.
We need to be able to pay well, but T3 won't.
Won't. But everyone in this meeting was really excited over the idea until we actually had to implement the idea, and then it all fell to shit. So it becomes a want.
Why, there we go, okay, cool.
Yeah.
New wormhole effects.
I think that should be a should.
I think should is cool. And then these are all coulds down here. I think these are cool ideas, but we're not sure if we're going to get to them.
Could.
So there we go. Now we know roughly what we're doing with this feature. We know what order we should be working on. If we have any questions about, like, we run in half through and go, oh my god, like, the world has exploded, we lose a sprint, then we can go, oh, there's no like, panic about what do we do, we just go drop the code, jobs are good. So, like, this not only helps us up front figure out what order we should do things in, but it also means that if we have, like, unexpected craziness, then we can deal with it really easily by just dropping the stuff on the lowest level of the thing and moving on. This design is designed in a way that we know what this order is, so if we drop the code, it doesn't break anything, and it puts us in a really flexible place, so we're pretty happy with that.
And also, this is designed as a pushback mechanism for teams working in development. Like, if everything goes to shit and everyone's emo, you can say, well, we had these 5 musts. We only got 2 of them through. We don't consider this a feature. Like, everyone agreed. You stakeholders said this was a must. We didn't do it, so we can't finish the feature that way.
So what this means, for example, is if we find that podding NPCs is really hard and we can't do it, this feature gets cut. That's what must means.
Yeah. In your shoulders. Like, not getting it because of NPCs podding. Well, you should never believe anything I say. So, like...
Okay, so that's the scoping. Review time, we have another review. What do the stakeholders think of this so far? Cool? Anyone who thinks this is terrible? Anyone want to feature creep me crazily? That's a big feature creep, I like that.
Feature creep of doom. And also, do we remember...
Spoken like somebody from marketing.
Yeah, exactly. And also, now we get back to the reality. Okay, oh shit, we only have 6 sprints for this. So basically, now we take all the shoulds and coulds and we kind of look of it, is this humanly possible?
Yep.
But with the motto, we are no pussies. So like, we will get this done, that's for sure. How much of it? That's another discussion.
So we're going to skip over design details because we don't really have
No,
time.
we have actually covered most of it.
We covered the concepts, it's cool. Let's move down here to user stories. We're not actually going to write user stories because they take forever.
Yeah.
But
give an example of at least how
here's a user story. As a player, I can go to a new area of wormhole space so that I can get new experiences that I don't get in the current areas. We strip all our design down into user stories. You write a story that kind of tells you what the player wants to do, why they want to do it, and then we have acceptance criteria which say this is what this must do in order to be good enough to ship. So we get all these things, and it breaks all our work up into these blocks. We use stories, we do sub-stories on those stories, and that's what we use to estimate and scope and kind of manage our planning. That's what Solomon, if he's in here, spends his entire life doing pretty much.
There he is.
User stories are cool. User stories are how we keep track of things, but they take a while to write, so we're running low on time. We're going to skim forward a little bit. Once we have done our user stories, we actually do some work.
Yeah.
And we're going to fast forward over this bit.
Yeah, because I could sit down and do this for 6 weeks, but we don't really have time for that.
Basically, now everyone's stressed, pooping blood, promising that stuff will get finished, which won't get finished, and believing until the last minute it will actually get finished. And then sending I'm really sorry about this incident that came up last week, but you can't get your shoot into the story.
It's very sad.
Yeah,
do you want to talk about work anymore? Are we good with the work?
Actual work. So in theory, we could maybe go into what's happening between us. I would be making dungeons, doing NPCs, probably fucking around a little bit with the effects in dungeons if we have them. ballpark. I can be testing that out as I make the dungeons.
Yep.
It's nothing that it might come in if it's easy. We have a system and we have a solid plan how to do it.
Yep.
At least worth exploring it while I do the main work, at least.
Yeah.
Jamie is now,
Probably messing around with NPC AI,
yeah.
hoping it doesn't go Skynet.
He's also checking the connections, putting a cap on how many sites can be in the system, all the fiddly database stuff, pretty much. Also, we're reviewing maybe defects and petitions we have already on Wormhole Space, see what iteration we can do on it at the same time.
At some point we need to write a dev blog so that the players know
doing
what
that.
we're doing.
I'm not doing that. You're really good at that, man. I saw your presentation on Sex for Tax yesterday. Anyone saw that? Sex for Tax. This dude is really good at writing stuff and making pictures. So, like, I nominate you.
Cool.
I guess I'm doing that.
Blog, and then I'm probably trying to gonna make all the actual wormholes themselves, figure out all the stats for those. Me and Maspad need to figure out how we're going to make 2,500 star systems, whatever we said, 2,000 star systems, because we're going to do them from scratch, unless we're going to copy the existing ones, which is cheating, which is quite a lot of work figuring out how to write a Python procedure, essentially, that will make a realistic-looking star system from scratch. It's a little bit fiddly, but we can do that, right? It's not that hard. And then I just kind of sit around with my feet up all day and watch Christian work. No, there's a lot of, once everything starts rolling hard, there's a lot of things that come up and little things that will need managing and tweaking. We've got to go and talk to the audio guys, and we've got to figure out why this particular thing isn't working, or we've got to figure out we've got to cut this bit or change this bit because it's technically too expensive and it's going to take too long. Like, how can we change the design to make everything sit? So I'm just kind of sitting there kind of massaging the whole thing, keeping it rolling.
Yeah, and then maybe you get a Fanfest in, like, sprint 4.
Yeah, and then you
Spend a whole week talking to people and drinking. And
Yeah. I'm living the good life while you should be working on features.
At the very end, we have a release review, which is everything is done. The codes are working. We're getting ready to ship. We're a couple of weeks from ship. And we have a big, what's everyone got, what's going on session, probably up in our canteen at work, where all the teams get to show off, here's what we've got. Everyone can see what everyone has done. Marketing can see what's going to happen so they know what they're promoting. We have a nice big sit down. So let's do a mini release review. Who thinks this feature's cool? I like you guys. Huh?
Where did the features go?
The features go to happy feature heaven. It's lovely. But yeah, so that's kind of the process we walk through every time we do design. Like I said, this is not a design that we're going to ship to TQ, but we want to pick this to try and let you guys see kind of what the process is and how the interplay works between the different areas of the work for this kind of thing and that kind of thing. Hopefully this has been interesting to you guys. That's kind of the end. I guess, if we got time to do questions?
Yeah, let's at least do a couple.
If anyone wants to ask a couple of questions about process and stuff, don't ask a question about wormholes, that was yesterday. If you want to do that, then feel free to come up to the mic at the front. Otherwise, anybody want to ask a question? Is that guy coming for a question or is he leaving? He's leaving. Okay, well, I think we're done. Thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you. See you in the keynote.